A number of years ago, a man wrote an article about us that was horrible. It wasn't bad, it was horrible. He never talked to us. What was in the article was untrue in the hyper extreme. He confused us with some other groups, but he wrote about us, blasted us, and sent it everywhere. Suddenly, I'm getting all these calls. This isn't true, is it? I said, no, that's not true. Of course not. And I got mad. I got royally ticked off. How many of you ever gotten royally ticked off? And I decided to get even. How many of y'all ever decided to, you want to play word games? Well, here we go. And I said, I'm going to make this guy regret the day he was born. And I came up with a neat idea. I said, you want to play word games? Well, I'm going to do some word games. I am going to sue you every day for something different for 30 straight days. I am going to give you so much legal lice, you're never going to stop itching. Your lawyers are going to be your best friends. They'll be on your Christmas card list. I'm going to fix you good. And I felt great. Then I called all the lawyers in our ministry and I said, I want you all to get together. I'm back in town Monday morning. I said, we are going to meet at 1 o'clock. And here's my idea. And I said, anything you can think of to deck this guy. I said, I want you to put your imaginations into hyperdrive. And I'm telling you, I felt wonderful. I came back into town, walked into my office, ran into my secretary, Mrs. Block. She's now in heaven. And she said, oh, Brother Gibbs, I saw the article. I said, yeah. She said, that's all untrue. I said, yeah, I know. She said, well, I know what you're going to do. I said, yeah, I'm going to sue him 30 days in a row. And I got the lawyer. I said, we're going to make this guy, we are going to make him, it's going to be good, Shirley. And she looked at me and she said, no. You're not going to do that. You're a Christian. She said, you're going to love him and bless him and do good to him, aren't you? And I said, yeah. Right after I get even. You see, that's the devil's trap. We want to do that after. Boy, like Abigail to David, Mrs. Block said, Brother Gibbs, it takes a lifetime to get a good name. It takes one day to trade it away. Don't do it. She said, promise me you're going to bless him and do good to him and love him. And I'm looking at Shirley and I'm thinking, Lord, I don't need a Christian secretary right now. I just don't. But Shirley had some Italian. She's from West Virginia, but she had Italian. And when she wanted you to say something, she'd go like this. She'd say yes. And I'm like, leave. She said, promise me you're going to do that. And I said, okay, Shirley, I promise. She said, well, I knew you'd want to tell him you love him, so I've called him and he's on line 5. And boy, I looked over and that little light's just going like this. And she said, Brother Gibbs, if you wait, you won't do it. She said, she punched the button, handed me the phone. And I said, hello, and the guy exploded. He swore at me. Supposed to be a Christian. Swore at me. Why'd you call me? And he's screaming so loud, Shirley standing, she didn't hear it. She said, tell him you love him. I'm like, you tell him. I said, I called to tell you I love you. He exploded. Oh my goodness, did he swear vulgar? Blank, blank, that's not why you called. You called to cast coals of fire on my head. That's why you called. And you know what hit my mind? I said, you know, if I'd have thought of that, I'd have put it on the list. She said, tell him you want to do him good. Whew. Absent God's power, you can't do it. I said, I called to tell you I want to do you good. I said, I don't care what it is, but if it's in my power, I want to do it. He said, you don't mean that. I said, let me tell you something, I'm worse than you. I said, you hurt me really bad. You smeared my name, but I intended to destroy you. I'm not as good a man as you are. But God put a Christian secretary in my path this morning. And I do want to do you good. Are you ready to be God's man? At home? On the job? With others? And with an enemy?